Hello everybody and welcome to ND&D. And no, the title is not a lie, and what I said at the end of my last video is not a lie. This will be me talking about the beginning and end of my first ever D&D character, Sharkbait. I played him for about 3 practice sessions. I guess you could say 2 full sessions, but 1 session with a friend of mine who was thinking about playing D&D, and then 1 actual campaign session. So I played him about 5 times in total until it just kind of fell through. Not because I didn't like the character. I love the character. In fact, if I can one day, I would love to play him again. But I'm telling you about the beginning, and then the Sharkbait. And kind of what was planned for Sharkbait as well, because that's what my DM likes to do. He kind of likes to set a campaign and kind of give us end goals. Like what he kind of wants to happen, but he'll also kind of tweak stuff to where it's not how exactly he says it. So that way we don't always see it coming. Or we don't see what he said as coming. Confusing, yes, but let me go ahead and get into it. So who's Sharkbait? Who is this Sharkbait? Probably most of you are thinking of Finding Nemo. Sharkbait, hoo-ha-ha. Yeah, it's like the first time I ever heard that joke, though. And really, I don't know why the name, but pretty much what Sharkbait is that he was as a race, it was a Dragonborn. He was a blue scale Dragonborn, and when you choose a Dragonborn, you know, they have an encounter ability where it's pretty much they're like dragon breath. And you can actually change, or you can actually choose what element it is. And mine was lightning. And so, and he was I want to say so many things, but I can't say it at once. And so in his class was a sorcerer. I can't remember if there was a subclass to that, like, because there's like, for a lot of classes in D&D 4th edition I know of, there's like fucking ranger and ranger duelist, but he was a sorcerer, but I can't remember if there was something else to it. And he was also multi-classed using a feat as a monk, and apparently my DM hated this because I apparently played it so well, putting it in his words. But let's move on. And the backstory of the character was that he was going to be orphaned. He was going to be found by pirates, and he was kind of raised like that. And he was going to worship Melora. I believe that's her name. Melora, the goddess of the sea. Again, I'm forgetting a lot of things right now. I should have done my research beforehand, but I'm moving right into this. And he was going to be a pirate. Something that the DM kept on doing that was making me mad is because he kept on saying that Sharkbait was a sand pirate, which made no fucking sense after everything that was already established. So, he was not a sand pirate. He was a pirate in the blue open sea, because that's way more badass, because fuck sand pirates. And as far as him being blue, we actually Ian my DM kind of added more of backstory. He gave me 2. One was that he could have been a reincarnated, or he could have had a soul of a ancient blue dragon, and that was one of the reasons he's blue. Another thing he added, but we never really got to, was that he kind of threw this idea that, you know, recently he was actually just finished a campaign he was doing where he was actually playing a Dragonborn, and that Dragonborn actually fell in love with a drow, I think, which makes no sense, but they had a child, so it could have been like my character was, you know, the son, the long lost son. But I'm not gonna get into that because like that was, you know, something that was talked about, but we never got like ever really fully implemented. And I guess it doesn't really matter now. But yeah, that's what my character was. And as I said, I did 3 practice sessions before getting into the real session. And so I'll kind of go over those real quick. And I'll kind of go over those. I already said that. The first one was a combat session, so I can learn how to play. So I can learn the combat of the game, or of 4th edition, because we were playing 4th edition D&D. Note, I've tried playing 2nd edition D&D, and that shit went over my head. So, and pretty much what the session was is my character was traveling with a companion who died really quickly, and we stumbled upon a fortress, a small little fortress, and we went up there and knocked on them and to like ask for food or whatever, because we were still a good distance away from the next town or city. And surprise, there were bandits, or they were wanted bandits, I guess. but they weren't hostile yet. They were pretty much telling us the GTFO. And I guess we apparently like either they told us they had a bounty on them, or I recognized them, or my character like just rolled and recognized them, and that's how that happened. And as soon as they like closed the door, I immediately looked at my companion, and I don't. It's one of those things where you really learn from experience. And pretty much what I said was, "Holy shit, these guys are wanted. You know, we should definitely go to the city and like turn these guys in. You know, get led to a bounty." And after I said that, on the other side of the wall from the fortress, I heard, "We heard that." Yeah, not really good first outing. You gotta admit that. At least it wasn't with a group. And pretty much that started a combat session where I was fighting against three archers and like 2 dogs. And my companion immediately died. And I had 2 dogs on my ass, so I pretty much just ended up climbing a tree. And what ended up happening is that one of the dogs rolled a critical fail and died on its way down because it tried climbing the tree, rolled a critical fail, and just snapped its neck on the way down. This was not the first time this was not the first or last time in this small little session I had that a critical was rolled. I think I ended up killing the second dog with a chaos bolt. And then after that was done, I focused on the archers who were continuously shooting arrows at me. Obviously, they're archers. Why wouldn't they shoot arrows at me? To consider bolts. But let's move on. There were 2 females and 1 male. The entire time I was actually talking or yelling or bantering or whatever you want to say against this 1 female. And I ended up killing the male first with my chaos bolt. I think there were 3 archers. Again, it's one of those things where I just can't remember the entire thing. But I killed one of the guy, I believe. And what ended up happening is that the female I was bantering with actually rolled a critical fail on her basic range attack. What ended up happening was her. Okay, I want to stop real quick and say we don't follow 4th edition rules to the T. We do things differently. We don't roll like if we roll crits, we don't re-roll for crits. So I just want to point that out because I know some people are like, if you roll crit fail, you have to confirm it. I believe. I know that's what you have to do with a roll crit. So she rolled a crit fail and her both snapped on her, and I forgot to mention that they're actually on top of the stone slabbing on the fortress. So they're not they didn't have ladders, they just kind of climbed up there. So her bow snapped in front of her, which shocked her, and ended up causing her to fall backwards and snap her neck on the way down. Which led to 1 more person left, and that person was just like, good riddance. And then I started bantering with her, and it ended with me beating her, but tying her up and like going to take her into the city. And what ended up happening there is she bit off her own tongue and killed herself. Yay! She was dead, and I was left all alone. That doesn't really count as a real like full continuing continuity story. So that's where we began our second session, or second small session. We did this like back to back, and what it was is it was supposed to be an RP session, but it was like a solo RP session of kind of me like wandering around for a bit. So on my way to the next city, ignoring the fact that I just killed some people, I stumbled upon a house, and in good any type of RPG fashion, I just waltzed right in. No, I knocked on the door, tried to see if anyone was there, but I entered. I entered. What of it? I don't fucking care about trespassing. But I entered the house and I was looking around, trying to see if there was anybody there, but there was nobody there. No one. The house actually seemed like long gone, if I remember correctly. And I explored the house some. It was a really simple house. There was like 1 bedroom, and there was kind of like a living room and whatnot. So I walked around, and there was actually a sword, a black, I could put it no better way, but a black katana sword, a katana-like sword, on a mantle. It was pure black, sheath, all of it black. And I was just like, oh, that's really fucking cool. I didn't pick it up. And when I went into the bedroom, I actually found a wardrobe or a robe, I guess, and on the floor, and I was like, "This is interesting." And I just kind of picked it up and I put it in my backpack. And I think the DM was like, "You're not gonna put it on?" I was like, "No, why? Why would I put the robes on?" And he was like, "All right." And so I actually did take the. I again, it's one of those things where I just can't remember step by step what happened, but I kind of know what ended up happening is. Eventually, I did end up putting on the robe, and I eventually did take it. I almost immediately took the sword down as well, and I kind of fell asleep in the chair because I didn't want to be rude. You know, I don't want, because, you know, it might have been long gone, but I didn't want someone to come back home and go like, "Oh, after years of on adventure, I'm back," and just see this fucking blue dragonborn wearing a shit, sleeping on his bed, like clutching his sword to his chest. How embarrassing would that be? So I fell asleep in the chair, and that's where I had a dream of this robed black creature, which ended up is a creature character my DM made up called the Zenitar. And I'll explain who the Zenitar is in just a few minutes. And pretty much what he ended up doing was he ended up reaching into my chest and pulling out this little black orb thing. There's a lot of black, and he ingested it. And I guess I'll go ahead and say now what the creature is that. Actually, no. I'm going to back up. I'm going to keep going because I can't make up my mind. So what ended up happening is after this, the thing disappeared after a fucking fiery inferno appeared. And who appeared in front of me? I'll tell you fucking who appeared in front of me. It was... Oh, son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. I forgot the name, didn't I? It starts with a T. He's the god of Ragnarok. God of Ragnarok. Thorzdun. Thorzdun is his name. Thorzdun. Wow. I was in the process of looking at that. Thorzdun, the god of Ragnarok. And he has another title called the Chain God because he was a long time ago chained up by many other gods. And that's who appeared in front of me. And what ended up happening is that he fucking dug into my chest, and I have no idea what he did. But I'll go ahead and tell you what he did do is that he made me a chain of Thorzdun. And again, that's one of those moments where someone that is very familiar with D&D lore will probably go, "That's probably not possible." You know what? It probably isn't possible, but you know what? The DM does whatever the fuck he wants. And that's what happened. I was made into a chain of Thorzdun. And kind of the dream ended there. I think I was able to escape or something, or the Thorzdun let me go, or the Zenitar let me go. But I'll go back to the Zenitar now. And the Zenitar is not as far as I remember, is not an actual character in D&D. But what he was in the campaign is that he was I would say a herald avatar. He was a minion, not even a minion. He was a little higher up, a lieutenant. Whatever. He was a subordinate of Thorzdun, and he would do Thorzdun's bidding until one day he was just like, "Thorzdun's really fucking evil. I should probably stop this." And that's what he did. And he can't really exist in the mortal realm. So what he had to do was he had to take a shape. He had to take form of something else. What was the form he took? Of a sword, of a black katana-like blade. And I picked this up. And pretty much what happened is that I found out that I kind of more or less did deduction work or just insight check, or I did something and I found out what this blade was. And well, the blade's kind of a dick. Sometimes in D&D you might have a DM that wants to do something interesting. Sword, like the sword talks. The sword has kind of free will. What this sword is that it could change gravity, or its own gravity. What does that mean? The sword can make itself weigh like 10 tons. I'm not joking. I was holding the sword, and the DM was like, "The sword immediately gets heavier on you. You fall to the floor, son of a bitch." And then it gets lighter. You want to know what happened? You want to know the shark, almost the jump-like sharking moment of this? I was like, I looked at the sword and I just go, "What do you want of me? Was this planned? Was it just any smuck that wanted? What do you need?" And the sword and my grip on the sword flew me out the window on like a 2-week journey. Maybe not 2 weeks, but apparently my character was apparently holding onto a sword for a very long time, flying at like Mach 10. No, that's a little exaggerating, but still, it was like, what the fuck. And then I did a third mini session where I was going back into combat, just to make sure I got a little bit more knowledge of combat. And what ended up happening was I was in a dreamlike state with like at a waterfall or a small waterfall. Like you can't even really consider it a waterfall, but like a small river that kind of like dips and it kind of keeps going. And there were like 4 goblins there, and this was the moment where I tried stealth. And I really applaud myself for this, because what I ended up doing was I ended up getting into the water, pushing myself back into the mini waterfall, and I kind of I took the rope from my adventurer's kit out, and I makeshift a noose. And what ended up happening is one of the goblins walked up to me. I rolled to throw the noose on him, met the roll, did a big roll to pull down, and I did a roll to catch him, and I succeeded every single roll. To the point where this goblin was actually unconscious because of the sheer suddenness of what was happening. And I slit his throat. And the other goblin started wondering what the fuck was going on. Alright, this is a small part, but I still like to mention it because I just love it so much. It makes me feel so good. Another one of the goblins actually approached the waterfall, kind of in the same spot. And what I ended up doing was I ended up just grabbing his feet and just grabbing him and slamming him head first, kind of swinging him head first into a rock, instantly killing him. And with the last goblin, I just kind of chaos bolt her until she was dead. And that was kind of like a dreamlike state of flying. It's not a real thing. It was kind of one of those. It was like the first thing where it just never happened. And I did do a session with a friend of mine, just to see if he would want to get into D&D. Not much happened there, but only real parts I can really mention is that we ended up getting near a big hole, and there were chains, and I was thinking about just going down there, probably jumping to one of the chains, just kind of slowly going down. My friend had a different idea. In fact, he decided to kick me down and pee on me. He rolled to kick me down the hole and pissed on me. Yep. Alright. So after that, we actually, or after that, before or after, I actually had my first real session with a group. A small group. It was really as far as PC goes, or players go, there were only 3 of us. That's only because they actually had a 4th player that dropped out. I was joining in the second session. I was coming in late. And I'll mention the character names that the people were playing. There was Duchesne, who is a paladin, and Sylvester, who was a bard and was very cowardly. And played very well from what Ian said, or my DM says. I keep doing that. And just played really cowardly, really well, in fact. And what their mission was is that they were actually ordered or took a mission that a mayor was giving out to check on this little swamp area that resided a human settlement, because apparently there was no updates from them, there were no communications or something like that, and they were sent to investigate. Either that, or they already are. They were kind of already told that apparently this human settlement was wiped out by a group of lizardmen, and they needed to go find out why and take care of the problem. And so originally they had a 3rd player with them before me, but that person just kind of dropped out. So they were traveling, and then they were ambushed by a bunch of lizardmen. And what ended up happening was when they fought, and one of the funnier moments of this was one of the lizardmen was actually focusing on the bard, and the lizardman kept rolling shit. The bard was wearing like cloth, not even real armor, and the lizardman could not hit for shit. This guy kept on missing. He kept missing. To the point where Ian finally, or the DM, I don't know why I keep doing that. The DM finally rolled a 1 and just kind of went, fuck it. This lizardman breaks his arm on your chest. Because he's such a bitch. And eventually I just kind of I come in flying like crash landing head first into the swamp and got stuck for like 3 turns until I was saved. Luckily, I was able to talk to the lizardmen because they spoke Draconic, and that's what my language was. So I was able to talk to them, and we kind of had to in a way surrender to them, but it was in peace. And we were taken to their leader, who needed our help, but he wanted us to prove ourselves. And pretty much what he told us was that we need to choose a champion out of the 3 of us to fight their champion, the big buff lizard man that was like right behind him. He was like flexing his muscles and like kissing him or whatever. And so obviously we chose the paladin to take care of this fight, and that ended up in our favor. But really, the fight itself was nothing special. We kind of had to we were given the chances to distract him, and I just really wanted to point this out because I was so nervous, and and this was so much my first time that as far as RP goes, I sucked. I was like, when I met the character, I was like, yo, what's up? And they're like, I don't know what you said, but hello, friend. And when we were distracting the big muscular lizard man, I literally jumped on top of a rock and went, yo, mama. I was so horrible. I'm embarrassed of myself. Like afterwards, I was looking at the DM and I was like, they don't hate me, do they? Because I'm just really, really nervous. But eventually we did win, or he won. Our paladin won, thankfully, and we proved ourselves of fighting the Drakeen, because the swamp was actually poisoned by a black dragon who conjured up a little Drakeen. That's the name, right? To kind of terrorize everyone and keep the swamp poisoned. Before that, we had to go take care of another little business. We had to take care of a little girl called Janice. And Janice was actually a survivor of the Lizardman onslaught. And you say this, you're going to say, like, I'm saying onslaught, or slaughter, murder, and it's showing, why didn't we just try to kill the Lizardman? And that's because the Lizardmen did kill people. They are in the wrong, but they are not fully in the wrong. Now, don't get me wrong. They need to pay for their crimes in some way, shape, or form. But it's what ended up happening was the Lizardmen actually had a contract with or a deal, really, a negotiation treaty, whatever, with the human settlement, saying that if the Lizardmen ever needed help, that they could come here. And when the dragons started attacking, they tried to go there, but the humans would not let them in, so they pretty much had to murder all the humans. Morally speaking, you can probably have your own different opinion. I kind of wanted to kill the guys, but I didn't really do it. So Janice was a human child survivor, the only survivor, and she watched as her entire family, everyone she ever knew, die. And when we found her, she wanted revenge. She wanted to see the Lizardmen die. She wanted to kill them all herself. She just wanted to see them dead. And we more or less talked her into kind of helping us with the entire situation, helping us take care of the Drakeen. And what we ended up doing is we ended up getting some boats together, get some steel bars to use as oars, because the Lizardmen had shit, because they didn't have time to build anything. And we rode our way on to find this Drakeen, to find him and kill him. And surprisingly enough, this fight didn't actually take too long. I think this might have taken like maybe at most 3 rounds to fight this thing, which I'll go ahead and say right now, we actually fought the thing just recently. I'm with another group now, and we're kind of with the same group more or less. And we were actually doing the same quest. Just fought the Drakeen, and it took us like 10 rounds, or like 10 to 20 rounds. And you're probably going this way, that's not that much, but yeah. And what ended up happening, we found this thing, and we started the fight. And boats were getting turned over left and right. People were dying as they fell into this poisoned river. And the big lizard man, the big buff one, the champion, I'm just going to call him Sitar. Hopefully I can remember that. Sitar literally just jumped on top of the Drakeen's head. And followed by Janice. She just as swiftly jumped onto the dragon's head. And they were kind of just attacking the thing on its head, as everyone else just kind of, shot chaos bolts. And I just want to pause right now and just kind of talk about something else that was happening that I did not mean to do at the time, but I just really could not help it during the fight. Is that during the fight, every time I said I was going to attack, I always said my attack. My attack was Chaos Bolt. That was my attack. That was a really useful attack, and it was really all I needed for the most part. I didn't, because all I had was whatever. But for whatever reason, my mind and my mouth kept on saying Optic Blast, and it pissed off the DM so much. He was like, "Who are you, Cyclops? It's Chaos Bolt. Say Chaos Bolt. Stop saying fucking Optic Blast." And I kept on doing it, not on purpose, but on pure accident. I didn't mean to do it. I just kept on doing it. Okay, go back to the game. And what ended up happening is that Genis, while on top of the head, actually ended up tripping on purpose the big Zatar. That was his name, right? I can't remember the name I just gave him. She ended up tripping him, and he actually fell off into the poison river, but survived because he's just not a minion. And we saw that, and the fight continued, but it didn't last long. I actually ended up getting the killing blow, which made me so happy because I used my daily to kill it. And he's like, as I use my daily and I attack, and he goes, "All right, the Drakian disappears and dies, or like turns back into mud, because that's what it was made of." And I was like, "Wait, I killed it?" He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah." This is like my first kill. And it's big. Wait a second. And that, again, that's kind of more or less where it ended. We were told by a mysterious man afterwards that we needed to travel to a ghost city, and this guy actually would turn out to be Bahamut, if I remember correctly, kind of giving us our ways to succeed, what we needed to do. And that was kind of the last thing that happened. After that, we got closed up session, and the DM tried to contact the guys again to do another session, but they got busy, never replied. And that's kind of where it ended. That was the first and last real session of Sharkbait I got to play as. Really sad, but something you can't really help. That's the thing with D&D. Especially when you're older, you don't have, well, not when you're older, but like when you don't have much time, you gotta really put up a full day time to play D&D. It's just sometimes it's really hard to find a day to play D&D, especially with like a bigger group. So it's unfortunate. But it wasn't really the end, more or less, because me and the DM, actually kind of talked about the future, what he kind of had, what his plans were, and what the end goal was is that we were actually going to fight the Tharsdoon. We were going to fight him, defeat him, Bing Bang Boom was going to be done. And he kind of told us, and I talked to him because I really wanted Genis to more or less kind of join the party. Or at least kind of try to help her out some, but she never liked me. She didn't like Sharkbait, because why? Because, well, he was a Dragonborn, and he looked similar, or kind of like the Lizardman that killed her people. So she never liked me. So it was unfortunate, but again, what are you gonna do? Racist bastards, whatever. And pretty much what he was gonna do with her is that she was actually gonna come back, not as a recurring character, and she would slowly start turning evil on us. It's kind of, she would kind of have her own, it's one of those things where I've heard before, especially with Spoonie One saying, like, you're the hero of your own story. She wasn't going to view herself as evil, but she probably could have. She was really trying to get power to help kill the Lizardmen. And she was just eventually going to, become evil, do what she can to get power. And she was really, and what was going to happen is she was at the end of the game, or near the end of the game, she was actually going to become a herald, one of the 4 heralds of Tharsdoon. And we were going to have to defeat her, send her to hell. And what's going to have to happen to that was that the Lord of the 9 Hells, Asmodeus, was actually going to make her a guardian of the guard of the entrance of hell. And one of my things was I was going to try to save her from that. But really, throughout the entire thing, I was always going to try to get her back to the side of good. And one of the ideas we had for my character was that he was going to turn into a lich. Just kind of help me out some, because it's one of those things where I think you can become a lich, but it's just one of those things. But that was one of my ideas, or one of the ideas that he gave me, and it wasn't going to be until like level 11 until I become a lich, because that's what like the ritual level required of you. But yeah, that's I should also add the ending for Sharkbait. What the original idea was is that, as you may have recalled, I said that when I met Tharizdun in my dream, he turned me into a chain of Tharizdun. And what happens is, if all the chains of Tharizdun are destroyed, Tharizdun is released. He is no longer the chain god. He is the fully powerful god of Ragnarok once again, or something like that. And what's going to happen is, during the final battle with Tharizdun, he was going to destroy the chain inside me and kind of really weaken me. And what was going to happen is, after we defeated Tharizdun, my character was going to be dying. We were going to be in the god realm of Tharizdun, and I was going to be dying. And that's when the Zendikar would reappear and kind of... he's going to take the essence that was left over from Tharizdun, because if I remember correctly, you can't really kill a god. What happens is, when you kill a god, they kind of go into a deep slumber unless you like become the next god or something like that. That's kind of how it works or something like that. But what the Zendikar was going to do is, he was going to merge him, Tharizdun, and Sharkbait all into one. So that way, pretty much what it ended up being is, Sharkbait would be the next god of Ragnarok. He would be the next chain god, because even though he's not evil like Tharizdun, even though he kind of has the essence in him, the other gods can't risk it. The gods have to chain him up. They have to keep this power sealed. And that's pretty much, that was it for Sharkbait. He was going to become the next god of Ragnarok, more or less unwillingly. It was pretty much to save his life. So yeah, it's one of those situations. And that was the end of Sharkbait. That was the one and only time I played Sharkbait in a full session. And that was kind of the journey he was more or less going to go through. There was fortunately no real journeys, just kind of an end goal in the start. But that's it. That's it for Sharkbait. Again, if I could play Sharkbait again one day, I would love to. But I'm kind of moved on to other characters. Maybe if I finish with them, I'll go back to Sharkbait. But it's one of those things. So that concludes Sharkbait. That concludes my first session of a real D&D game. And next time we will continue on with a campaign that I would play for about 3 years, for about 2.5 years or so, and it lasted a long time. It only ended because of people not being able to show up, and that was the only thing. So when we continue next time, I will tell you the backstory of the characters called Shar, Leon, and then my character, Zhao.